So today's session, right? We're talking about planning your exit strategy. So we have found we forgot to insert the symbol, but but it's okay, right? So we are talking about planning our exit strategy. So we'll be highlighting some common misconceptions, right? We'll talk about how do you plan for your exit strategy, be it you are a investor, first timer, upgrader. Okay. We'll also be sharing a case study, and last but not least, some bonus for you guys.
More exciting.
We wanted to insert the symbol, but we all forgot about it. Right. Yes.
Yeah, so common misconceptions or mistakes that people, may have unknowingly done in their property journey. First thing is assuming that you will stay in that very one house forever. It is a very ideal scenario that you buy your first home, you build your family there or whatnot, and you get to stay in it forever. And I think it's because most of us grew up in a generation where you probably have never shifted house before. Your parents bought that one house and you've been staying there for the past 30 years or 40 years. So while it is really good that you don't have to shift and go through the hassle of packing, we must understand that the times now is very different as compared to in the past, whereby it was our parents' generation. So we drew out two examples here. On the left side, for example, buying a 70,000 HDB flat in Marine Parade in 1990, and the price now that you can probably sell it for is 600,000 30 years later. And because it was $70,000, even if you were to use all your CPF to pay for the house, after selling your house now at 600,000, your CPF refund is only 147,000. So you still get very healthy cash proceeds that can let you, retire at 453,000. But that is for our parents, they retire, sell the house, money go back to the CPF, 450k cash in the pocket. Versus now, if for our generation, if we were to buy a 450,000 HDB flat now, which I think is a very reasonable price for most HDBs, and we were to use all of our CPF, even if the price of this HDB goes up to 1 million 30 years later in 2050, you realize that the CPF refund, the increase is quite significant at 943,000. So then your cash proceeds, even selling it at 1 million, which you would think, is that quite crazy, is only $57,000. So we have to think about it, assuming that you will stay in this property forever, is it realistic or not in terms of your planning for your retirement? Yeah.
Right. So on the second point, right, not visualizing what the sale is like, right? So like remember the first line in our post for this time around was buying is easy, selling is hard, right? And it's because especially if you're a first timer, you've never sold a house before, right? And even if you are upgrader, you are selling a HDB to buy a private property, the resale market in the private property is very, very different, right? So we have seen this many times, and we're gonna say it again. Always visualize who you're gonna sell your unit to, okay? Especially for those that are buying new developments, be it BTOs or new launches, right? Because when you sell out in the resale market, you do not have the marketing budget of a developer or HDB, and also the whole army of agents selling that unit for you. So it's something that you need to pay attention to, right? How is it like when you are selling it in the market? Okay, and also for those that are buying resale properties, right? Do not make the mistake of assuming that you can sell for the same price as what you bought at. Okay, why we say that is because we've seen many cases whereby in the resale market, some owners, they struggle to sell the prices the unit at the price of their purchase, right? Mainly because I think we've touched on this quite a few times as well. The first time buyers have bought the units at a lot cheaper than the resale buyers. Okay, and also, right, if you study CPF, how CPF accrued interest work, and also the examples of negative sale, right? If you can refer to our first session where we talk quite a bit about negative sale, right? Understand how breaking even may not be good enough for you in terms of your retirement planning. Okay. Okay, so last point, right? Insufficient flexibility in terms of your plan and your expectations, right? So there are people that have a lot of requirements, like I only want to stay in this certain area, right? Also feng shui reasons. Not to say you cannot have this kind of requirements, right? But the stricter your requirements, the more inflexible your requirements are, right? It will result in less flexibility
for you in the future.
In the sale. The more rigid you are, the less flexibility in your exit planning, and you may have to accept the fact that come the sale, right, you may have to sell at a period of time where the market is no good, right? For example, right, the most common case is people that plan to sell the property and then buy another property for purpose of kids' school, right? Because you have to shift when your kid is about 3-4 years old, clock in at 2 years before they go into primary school. So then the time horizon is very fixed, and you have to sell to upgrade during that specific time horizon. So these are some examples whereby rigid requirements will limit the amount of exit options available to you. Yeah.
So next thing is on how do we go about planning. So we will always suggest that you should plan for different time horizons. You have your short term, long term, and medium term. So short term will be 3 to 5 years, medium term 6 to 10, and long term 10 years and longer. So a lot of investors tend to have shorter time horizons. Of course, they wish that, you know, we can make as much money as we can in the shortest period of time. And for owner occupiers, you have no need to move, or you don't wish to move so often, so your time frame is longer. But what we recommend is that it's always good to have a plan for all three, because you never know what will come up. And market cycles are very unpredictable now. We also don't know how our plans will change in the future. So if you have your bases covered in all different time horizons, then you know when you buy this property, you know, you will not be ever in a need when you're stressed to sell. So another thing is to think about the supply, and you know, we like to always refer back to the supply cycle chart. So by right, this year would have been a really great year to sell, and it's actually true, because you see that despite this COVID-19 crisis, we are hitting a 2-year high in resale volume. So those with a short time horizon, you may not have seen your price come up to your expectations. So that's why we emphasize always plan for different time horizons. So the next point, calculating the sums. For example, if you were to buy under one name, under two names, or you know, if you buy under two names and you need to buy another property, how are you going to carry out that whole, you know, restructuring of your portfolio? I think most of you guys know what I'm talking about. And planning the CPF usage. Oh yes, sorry, I stole his point.
Okay, so that's on my point, right? My point 3. Learn the strategies to increase your flexibility in your exit planning, right? Unfortunately, we can't go into specific details in a public forum like that, because if we do, then the government obviously will close these loopholes, right? But those that are in the know, I think they more or less know those few options. But those of you who do not know, right, just drop us a text, right? We'll be more than happy to share with you offline. Okay, so learn the different strategies, right? So this point 2, point 3 together, right? Different strategies, and then how the sums tie in together with these different strategies. Strategy A, there's different figures involved, right? We can see more in the case study later on, right? And number 4, right? Anticipate the need the change in needs and requirements in the future, right? So sometimes it's a bit hard as a young couple, maybe early 30s, or some of you that have not reached 30s yet, right? Buying your first property, you don't quite know
what to visualize
yes,
that will change in terms of your lifestyle.
Right? I believe those who are parents in the watching us today, you will know, right? Life is very, very different when you have kids and we have no kids. Those that agree, give us a thumbs up, right? Because so the thinking you have before you have kids is very different from the thinking you have after you have kids. So how? Then in that case, how do you plan for it, right? Some people overplan. I need X number of rooms for future planning. Some people underplan, never visualize how that might happen, right? So our suggestion, because we learn a lot about all this kind of planning
from speaking to different groups of clients of different profiles.
Yeah, so then we start to see a trend, right? Certain age, between this age to this age, they will require certain things, right? Between this age to that age, they will require another set of requirements. So what we suggest, right? Go and speak to your friends, right? If you're buying a house now at 30, you speak to some of them with kids, right? How the needs and requirements change, right? Would that in any way affect your property planning? Right? And also, right, of course, another point, right, which we say, the agents really see a lot of different horizons, right? So go and also speak to agents, right? And especially agents that do a lot of resale listings, because they really have a good on the ground feel of what it is like in the resale market. So speak to them, right? Speak to the people to understand. Don't underplan, but also don't overplan. Okay, here it is, right? A case study. So this is quite a recent case study of ours, right? A HDB upgrader, family of 3, looking to buy a condo. So we landed on a 2-bed 2-bath in the RCR. Well, we purchased it for less than 1.2 million. So how did the planning look like? Okay, so this is their exit strategy, right? Short, mid, long, right? So short term, right, is like a matrix, So short term, if the market is good, right, they will either stay, right, or they can sell, right? Market good, make a certain number of profits, they will sell already. Because ideally, they would have wanted a slightly bigger place, but because of the budget, we got a 2-bed 2-bath to keep the budget affordable. And also on the if we go on to the mid range, method D, I cannot say out, but I think for those of you who know what method D is, it's one of the methods very commonly known to increase your flexibility. So we will use method D to buy a second property if they decide to hold it over the midterm. Okay, because when you make profits on a certain property, you can actually find a way to utilize those profits to buy a second property, right? Of course, in the long term perspective, right, we will sell, downsize, and retire. Downsize to another back to the HDB when his daughter grows up and moves out lah. Okay, so of course, when the market is good, a lot of options, right? What if the market is bad? Right, so if the market is bad in the short term, you cannot sell, the price is no good, right? So we will either stay or we will do method D, right? Method D, right, buy second property. Okay, so what are some of the potential change in needs and requirements? Touch wood. Well, not say touch wood lah. In the event that need another bedroom, right, have more kids or whatnot, right, and the market is good or bad, we have planned for that, right, in the short term, mid term, long term. Any change in this, there's a way. We either stay or we sell or we do method D. right? If they need to change location, so this we actually sat down with them and we discussed, hey, in any circumstance, would there be a need for you to change location for school, primary school, parents, work or whatnot? We discussed it in detail, and we did, and eventually we realized that it's not that important, so that we didn't have to really consider that, right? So when they bought this property, right, visualize for them when we do sell it, right? Primarily we'll be targeting first-time buyers, right? 2-bed, 2-bath in the RCR. We kept the budget low, under 1.2 million. So next time we sell out about 1.4 million, it's still a very, very reasonable budget for first-time buyers and also for small upgraders like them, small upgrader families like themselves, right? Yeah, so it's a very, very simple matrix, right? And also stating down what are the potential changes that may happen for their family. Yeah, so this is something that, you know, you guys can do on your own as well, right? Yeah, so make sure they have all your bases covered, right? So anyone have questions, just feel free to straight away put it into the chat, right? So we can answer you, okay?
Yeah. So conclusion, I think we've said it before, but we will emphasize it again that, you know, while everyone likes to plan, there is no perfect exit strategy, and I guess the thing that you really want to be planning for is the flexibility that you have in your options in making whichever move that you decide to take. So yeah, flexibility is always the most important for us. That's what we value the most.
Yeah, so flexibility is a big word, but how do you achieve it is to learn main two important things: the finances and also the strategies to increase your flexibility. Alright, so get in touch with us and we can go through that in detail for you guys with that matrix that we have for you. So now to the exciting part, the bonus.
Right? Where we're supposed to have our missing symbol icon. Alright, so question time. Alright, so we have a good mixture of investors and owner-occupiers here with us tonight, right? So who has a higher break-even point? When we talk about break-even point, is you buy at a certain price, how much must you sell at? Who has a higher break-even point? An investor or an owner-occupier, right? Those who think investor, put in 1. Those who think it's owner-occupier, put in 2. Okay? So those that give us a reply, we will send you a bonus, also a bonus after the Facebook Live. Okay, we don't want to hold everyone back, right? Let me run through. Elizabeth will run through the numbers with you guys. For those of you who are have a phobia for numbers, just go with us step by step. Okay. Yeah. So assuming regardless of whether you're an investor or a owner-occupier and you're looking to buy at the purchase price of 1 million, the monthly mortgage will be the same. It will both be at $3,000 per month estimated. Okay, and because you're an investor, for example, hopefully we can get a good rental at $3,000 per month. But because if you're owner-occupier, then there is no rental because you are consuming, the property for your own use. So your break-even in 5 years, you realize that the break-even for an investor is much lower than that of the owner. The $30,000 is the estimated that you will pay for your buyer's stamp duties and as well as like legal fees and whatnot. So you see $30,000 on both sides for both the investor and the owner, but the owner has an additional $90,000. So everyone will be thinking, what is this $90,000? It is actually the interest that you have been paying on your mortgage for the past 5 years. And why we did not include that for the investor is because the investor is actually renting it out. The rental will pay for that interest and even pay down the loan, which we did not even factor in here. Then the next time we move on, we talk about reno. Investor maybe $3,000 to buy some simple furniture and put in your lights and curtains, and then you can get it out on rent. Owner, you maybe want to build in a TV console, build in more carpentry and things like that, so we factor in $50,000. So you realize that the break-even points for an investor and an owner is really significantly different. at a difference of 117,000 over 5 years, and this is really without even factoring the rental being paid for by the tenant for the investor.
We call that the savings plan lah. Maybe in the next couple of sessions we will run through that with you guys, right? So of course the main thing, right, is how does one make use of this information to their advantage?
Yeah, I think we got quite a fair bit.
Well, it's a good 50-50, a good 50-50 split. But if we look at this, right, you got I guess you guys will have your answer. Investor will have a much lower break-even as compared to an owner-occupier, right? Mainly because of the 90,000 you see over there, which is the interest that a owner-occupier is consuming for using up their own property, right? How do we translate that to your investment, to your purchase, right? Drop us a text, right? And we can discuss it in great detail, because then we have to tweak it based on if you are buying for your own stay, right?
At this point of time,
investment horizons, things like that. All right. Last bonus. Okay. So this is a chart that came out in 𝐻𝐻𝑃ROP. I think it was earlier this week. I'm not sure if I shared it on my Facebook page, but we will share it later on. Later I will check. Very interesting trend. Okay, so the orange color is the price index. The blue color line is the line for uncompleted, unsold units. Basically, it's the units that the developers are building and haven't self-finished yet. Okay. So what we noticed was that market bull run between 17 and 18 that resulted in the cooling measures in July 2018. What preceded that was a en bloc cycle. And if you really look at the bottom of the blue color, it actually coincides with the pickup in prices over here near the Q2 2017. Alright? Because a lot of people always think that if the supply is very, very high, that the price will drop. This chart like that it becomes very, very obvious, right? That your inventory comes up does not necessarily mean a price drop. Okay, but moral of the story for this one, how we see it, why we think it's useful is
we like to see the red line.
The red line, right? So URA and Hutton's research, we are not from Hutton's, but you know, it's a good chart, right? It's credits to their research team for doing out a good chart. What triggered, alright, the point whereby the en bloc cycle started was actually when the unsold inventory dipped below 20,000. Currently, the market is at 27,000, right? So about 7,000 away from that arbitrary line that they drew lah. On average, we are clocking in. I think it's a good 2,000 units, 1,000 plus to 2,000 units per month. So that will be in which is why they were saying in top left hand corner 2021, right? They expect the developers to come online to start bidding for land, and this is also ties in quite closely to the supply chart that we have shared it many times in our previous session, right? So
I think, you know, if you guys want to know more about the timing of the market, get in touch with us and we can have a more in-depth discussion with you guys.
Right, so that is
the end
that we have for you guys, right?
Our numbers are there if you want to call us.
Okay, so Q&A session, right? Today's session quite heavy compared to our previous session, right? So
if it's getting too heavy, let us know, because that was one feedback we had last week, but we thought it was really useful information. We thought it would be good to share.
Okay, I think maybe I go back to the exit strategy slide lah, so everybody can look at it. Right, this is really the main thing that we wanted to talk about. So anyone has any questions, right? Please let us know so that we can answer them. Right? Hi, Diana. Welcome, most welcome, Kit, our loyal supporter. Thank you for joining us every 2 weeks. We appreciate it. Right. Thanks for the response, Terence, Wei Zhuang, Farhan, Diana. Hi, Melvin. Hi, Kelvin. Right. So any questions, right, please let us know. But if you are shy to type it in a public forum, you can PM us lah. PM us, drop us a text, right? Our contact numbers is all over our Facebook page actually. So
yeah, just drop us a PM.
Yep. Okay. So if there are no questions, right? What?
No, go back to the...
Oh.
No, never mind, it's fine.
Yeah, right. So if there's no other questions, right, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks time, right? The content quite interesting. All right, we'll be going to different parts of Singapore, north, south, east, west, and analyzing them based on their locations. What are the opportunities there? Yeah. What were the good investments that people have done? What can we learn from those good investments? So pretty exciting. Yeah. Next four episodes, north, south, east, west. So stay tuned, right?
So if you want to know a specific location, then make sure to catch that Facebook live.
Alright, thank you everybody. Good night. See you again. Bye bye.